We should start having these trainings outside, I think. Yes, right?
Then we would be distracted.
Anybody put in color tickets yet? No?
Yeah, is it color-proof?
Yes. You did? How'd it go?
Good, easy.
Was it? Good, awesome. What about prototype proof? None? Sheesh. Are you guys at least excited about the new changes? Like, do you think that's gonna help? Yes? All right, I know we're all still sleeping, looks like, or busy, ready to finish stuff up for the weekend. Well, today we're gonna go over, just an overview of PM home base. We're also gonna do an overview of estimate requests, and then we'll go over the implementation and training schedule. So, PM home base, so again, that name is subject to change. Still waiting on ideas, nobody's brought me any ideas on what to change that. Jerome bugs me every day about changing that name. So please come to me, maybe we should have a contest.
I told you Bernie, then we could say weekend at Bernie. I had to spend a weekend at Bernie.
There you go. Jerome, we were just talking about how we have to change the name.
Yeah.
How about Jerome?
No.
Call it Jerome.
No.
Right. Have you guys met Jerome?
I-
So, Jerome here, he does all of our integration, so any of the data that's talking between our systems, he's responsible for. Do you guys use PACE tools, job status queue? He built that, so thanks to Jerome for doing that and all the queues. But he's also working really closely with us on PM Home Base, and he's going to be building it. It's a homegrown tool that we're building internally. So Jerome is doing that, so he's working hard to make your guys' life better. We also have Sharon Sensbeck here. Sharon came to us a couple months ago, brand new role for TBG. She is responsible for making sure that your user experience is great in our systems. So I don't know if you ever noticed in Collaborate how sometimes something's called one thing on one screen and the next screen is called something different, or even between our systems. She's really making sure that we're calling things the same thing across our systems and trying to make sure that it's a better user experience for you guys. So should we be doing a radio button? Should we be doing a drop down? What's the most intuitive? So Sharon's really responsible for that. So, yesterday even we were talking about, we're constantly designing this thing, and it was like, oh, do we, drag and drop here? Do you drag and drop there? You don't think about all those little design choices. So she's really responsible for that, has brought a lot of value to our company. What she's also done is been able to build prototypes. So before we actually go in and build the tool, we have a prototype so we can get all the quirks and things and start showing you guys some of the functionality. So as I go through some of these slides, I want you guys to know it is a prototype. I'm going to show you a screenshot here, Ryan. I'm going to show you, does everybody know Ryan? So Ryan's our PACE system configurator, so he's really doing a lot of work from the PACE side. So any of our setups and tables that we need, he just want to go that. But I want to say that this is not a finished project, and really what this is to show you guys the vision, kind of what we're looking to do. Just give you a little bit of insight. What we're asking is just please keep an open mind. I know sometimes it's hard to do that. You're like, you want to get in the details of how that affects you. We're asking you to have an open mind. Things still can change. It's okay. So what is PM Home Base? It is a one-stop shop for PMs. So right now you're kind of going to all these different systems. You have all these different trackers. It depends on what team you're on. You have Smartsheets and Zoho and ActiveCollab and all these different things. This tool is going to allow you to have all of your projects in one place. You'll be able to open up a project. You'll be able to put in, you have a conversation with a customer, you can put notes about that. So now you can start logging about what's going on with this project. So if you're out on vacation, somebody can go on that project, get up to speed really, really quickly. You'll also be able to see what has shipped on that project, how much have we invoiced from a high level, where are we at, is this an opportunity, is it a sales order, is it an invoiced? Also have all your tasks and notes all in one spot. Also be able to have alerts. So I don't know if you guys do this, but I see DJ sometimes walking around, he has like his job status queue printed out. He's like, hey, this job, where's this at? This job, where's that at? And you're micromanaging all your projects. What this tool is going to help us do is, if it's sitting somewhere for too long, it's going to alert you. or if estimating has it for too long, it's gonna alert you. So no longer are you gonna have to micromanage your projects. It's gonna alert you when you need to do things or follow up on things. Also for your hard-proof approvals or first article approvals or quality control or KIC QCs, you'll be able to approve those or decline those all in the same spot and have visibility when those are ready. I mean, I know you guys kind of like to get those emails from Kitting, you know, like 15 minutes before, and you're like, crap, we have to get up there. You'll have better visibility and get those notifications. So I'm not going to go into too much more detail right now because I'm sure you guys are all having this kind of reaction. Some of you are like, oh my God, this sounds really cool. I'm super excited. This is going to save me time. And some of you are like, oh my God, don't take away my paper. I really like my process. Don't do this to me. So we're going to go over like the actual prototype today, but we decided, you know what? We're going to hold off, and in a couple weeks, we're going to actually do some small group sessions, groups of 5, where we can answer your questions. We'll go through the different functionality that we're going to be giving you. And we think that that might be a better experience for you guys. So stay tuned for those meetings to come on your calendars. You know, part of this is, I know I hear all the time, it's like, you're putting in 8 hours or 4 hours into these distros, right? You're rearranging it for all these other departments. This tool is gonna really help you guys so that you don't have to do that. You get the data in the system and we can take the reporting from there to the other departments. So we'll be able to show you all of that. All right, is everybody okay? Not freaking out on me yet? Good. All right, so this is real. We're gonna cross over now to TBG today. Does this look familiar? All the different places you have to go for an estimate request. Your serve forms, your help desk, and emails, and PACE self-serve, and Platter self-serve. Kind of have all those different paths to go to. We're gonna move to 2. So you have your Clattery print self-serve. You'll no longer have a need for PACE self-serve because 100% of print will now be in Clattery. But if you need a request from another department, it's going to now be in PACE. And yes, I did say PACE. Don't freak out on me. It'll be okay. I know in the past, you know, some people got really scared, unless you're a super user of PACE, but, you know, some people, it's like you go in and do a PR ticket, it's like, what do I do? It's not intuitive. And it's like, what are those selections I pick? And all of a sudden you're spending hours and there's all these workflows. With this, I promise you it's not that way. It's very simple. And it's building that foundation for the future. So we'll walk through that here in just a second. So for estimate requests, it will be centralized estimating, kitting, R&D, so your design engineer, PDAP, which is formerly known as prototype, TPOP, fabrication fixture assembly. What is out of scope for May implementation is outsourcing for now. So you'll continue with that current process. What's the workflow going to look like? So for print, you'll still go to Clattery, do your code entry, and you'll check the order out. Same as you do today. That is not changing. You'll just have more in there from a print side. Everything will be over there for print. For everything else, when you need an estimate, you're going to enter in an estimate request in PACE. An estimator is going to pick it up from a queue, and they're going to convert it over to an estimate. Then they're going to change the status. It'll show up in a queue for you, and you're going to look at it, you're going to send it to your customer. The customer says, yep, hey, we approve this, we're going to move forward. If it's non-print, you're going to convert it to a job. If it's print, you're going to mark it as awarded, and then create a Clattery order. And you're going to use that estimate quantity ID, and I know it's not always fun to use that estimate quantity ID, and it's kind of a pain, but it is temporary. With PM Home Base, that will go away, everything will be linked together. So it is temporary, but we need you guys to make sure to fill in that estimate quantity ID so we have EDAs. And then the customer may say, not this time, then you would mark it as not awarded.
Can you talk about when we're in R&D?
Yeah.
How to move from a request from development and scoping into convert to estimate without the development happening?
Without the development happening.
So for example, just as replacing the server and surface area, take off to development of the thing that we'll get specs on once it's developing, once it's developing.
Yep.
What does that look like between estimate request and convert to estimate?
Yep, and I'll walk through each of those steps.
Okay.
So if at the end you still have questions, let's chat, okay? or bring it up again.
Hey Amanda, in your workflow, if you back up, so the top part is print,
Yep,
and the bottom part looks like everything but print.
Yep.
But you still have, if it's print, you're gonna do a print order. Is that just clarifying the above pattern?
so centralized estimating, if your order is over $5,000, you're gonna go to centralized estimating.
Oh, got it.
Or sometimes some people like to send it to centralized estimating for less than 5,000, or it may be a blended. So it may be centralized estimating does print, and they also reach out to Fab, and they also reach out to Kitty.
Okay, for blend, okay, big ones blended, or just because you want them.
Yep. So basically, anytime you need an estimate and you're not doing it self-serve, you're gonna go to PACE estimating, estimate request.
So it's like dye some fabric would still be an estimate request?
Yep. So anything that in the past you would go to help desk for is gonna now go here. In the past you went for a CERT form, is now gonna go here. Email to MFG is gonna go here. Okay? All right, so in the past, some of you would fill out multiple CERT requests, send it on, and you would include one job number. No longer is that gonna be the case. You will now have one estimate request that'll get converted over to an estimate and converted over to a job. So for design, you need a sketch done. And so you submit your estimate request with what you need. Design's gonna go in, they're gonna convert it over to an estimate, they're gonna put the number of hours. So is it gonna take 2 hours, is it gonna take 20 hours? You know, in the past I would hear, oh my gosh, design spent 200 hours on this thing and I only had budget for 4 hours. Now you're gonna be able to have an idea of how much time, so you can go, you know what, actually that's too much, let's do something different. You know, maybe they were doing a rendering and now we're gonna do a sketch because we don't have budget for all of that. You can at least have that conversation before they put in all that effort. So they'll go in, they'll put the number of hours, and then they'll send it to you, and then you'll say, yep, I agree to that, you'll convert it over to a job. The only exception to having the one estimate request to one job is for centralized estimating. Because if they are doing their print, it's gonna be on the centralized estimating request, but then they need to go to Fab. Fab will still be a separate estimate. So that's where you'll have to go into the Fab, and I'll go through that here in just a second. All right, so estimate request. So what do? So you'll go into PACE and you'll enter in a new estimate request. You're gonna enter in some description and details, and what I will say is kind of think about what your description is gonna be, because that's gonna flow from your estimate request to your estimate to your job, flow the whole way. I don't know if any of you have sent something into estimating and then all of a sudden you get it back and it's a new name and you're like, what is this? This is something completely different, it's hard to track all that. Everything will have the same name beginning to end. Okay. You'll also attach your documents. So RFQ spreadsheet, how many use the RFQ spreadsheet when they send print into centralized estimating? A couple? Okay. Kate's asking if you guys can try and do this more often. It really just helps their team. She does have a new template that's a little bit easier to use that we're going to send out and I'll link to you guys by Monday. But really, if you can try and do that, it really helps move things along and helps them have the information that they need to really make sure to get you guys the right pricing. Also, the documents that you would attach in your emails. So is it a customer deck? Is it drawings? Is it sketches, napkin sketch? Any of that, those things that you would give them in the past, you'll just attach right to the estimate request. And then you're going to answer the questionnaire. So much like the SURF was, it would ask you a list of questions. You'll do the same thing. You'll answer those questions for the different areas. Once you've done that, you'll change the status to submitted. What that does is it's going to let the other customer or the other department know that that is ready to have an estimate. Okay, so when you open it up, it's going to stay in your queue. You'll still see the submitted. But once that other department starts to look at it, they're going to change it to estimate or review. That tells you, hey, somebody has it. They're working on it, they're reviewing it. They may reach out and say, hey, there's not enough information, or maybe you gave conflicting information. Will you do a kickoff meeting or a pre-production meeting? And they're going to work with you on that. Or even when you guys are submitting it, you know, sometimes it's hard. It's like trying to describe with text. It's like, I can't really explain this. Still have your kickoff meetings. This isn't replacing all that dialogue that you have with other departments. It's just a way to submit the information to get that conversation going. So once the estimator has reviewed it and they have everything they need, they're gonna change it to request complete. That closes that estimate request so that you can't make any more changes. They're gonna then convert it over to an estimate. And this is what the queue kind of looks like. You'll see your customer and your salesperson, all that flows across, your description is there. All right, so estimate. So they went in, they built the estimate, they have the pricing. They're gonna change that status to send to PM sales. As soon as they do that, you're gonna receive an email notification. It'll also show up on a queue for you. You'll go into that estimate, you'll review your quote letter, your estimate detail report, whatever you need to do for that estimate, and then you're gonna change that status to submit it to customer. That kind of gives you a heads up, like, hey, here's the ones that I've addressed, here's the ones I haven't addressed. It's just a good way for us, or even, how many times do you have estimating reaching out, and it's like, hey, what's going on with this project? Gives better visibility to kind of what's going on. Oh, it's sitting out with the customer waiting for an answer. All right, so estimator converted over the estimate. You'll also see a send to fab PM sometimes. So as soon as the fab estimators are done, they're gonna have the fab PMs look at it